Welcome to CWS Christian Writing and Speaking. I'm your host, Jacqui Wilson, and today's guest is the founder of the Salt and Light Community. She is an author, a wife, a sales and marketing manager, and much more to people in her life. She is a Christian and is seen as inspirational, hardworking, and kind. Today, we are talking about her book, The Gift. Let's welcome today's guest, Lizzie Jayne. Yeah.
Hello, Jacqui. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All the way over in Nashville.
I know. Thank you for coming all the way across the ocean. We're so excited that you could join us for today's interview, and we are looking forward to getting into your book, The Gift. But before we start talking about the book itself, let's hear the story behind it. Why write this book, The Gift?
Well, this might take up a little bit of time, Jacqui, but let's give it a go. So The Gift started from a dream. Mm-hmm. Now, I need to take it back a little bit further so people can understand the context that's behind that. There was a chap came to our church. His name's Joe Gisby, actually. He's the CEO of Links International. So it's missionary Christian work that he does. He goes all over. And he came to preach at our church one Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. And after the service, I went up to him and just to thank him and had a chat. And he said, "Can I pray for you?" "Yes, that's fine." And he said all sorts of things which were wonderful. But he said to me, "The Lord's really proud of you, but he's about to do something else. He wants you to take a pen and a notebook and put it next to your bed, because he's going to start to speak to you through dreams." Yeah. So I thought, okay, that's great. So I did exactly that night, expecting to have some dreams. And of course, these things, days and weeks passed by. And I did have one, which you've just mentioned about the Salt and Light Community Group, which is something I founded in lockdown, which is another big story in itself. So maybe we can talk about that another time. There was one dream that related to that. And I wrote this down, and Joe said to me that when you have these dreams, you won't know what they mean straight away. But they'll be revealed to you over days, maybe even weeks, before you understand what they mean. So that was the first one. Now, in my church in Nottingham, in England, where I go to, I used to hold and organise and arrange what we called alternative to Halloween parties, because we do have a lot of trick-or-treaters, and it's pretty big over here in the UK, and is getting more and more. But there's a lot of parents and children that don't like it, or are uncomfortable with that. And so God's put in my heart, this is going back a few years now, to create an alternative for Christian families and non-Christian families, to give them somewhere to go and to basically celebrate God on the evening, rather than what I think is quite a dark event. Now, there was a couple in our church. They're called Tom and Esther. They were new given a new role within the kids ministry, and they took over the alternative to Halloween party. And this is going back 2 years. But I said, well, I'm happy to come and help, give you all the information that I've done over the years, and we can sit down and have a meeting. I still would love to be involved in that. Yes, that's great. We want you to come along. Can you meet on this particular Monday? And it was October 2019. Now, I had the prophecy from Joe in the January of 2019. So it's 9 months. And it's almost like 9 months, I've often thought back, is a bit of a gestation period. Yeah. As something new. It wasn't until after all these things have happened and I've explained the story that things started to slot into place. So exactly 9 months on, this Monday night, one Monday night, I had a dream. And a hand came out. It's a really short dream, and it sounds really bizarre, but it was real and it was really vivid. It woke me up. And this hand came out of the sky, passed something to a man who was stood in the distance on a mountain, who then turned around and handed me a gift. But this gift, as in the book gives it away, was this bright light. And in my dream, I was looking at this bright light, but something really, even though I was asleep, I could feel in my spirit, in my subconscious, something really resonated. Something changed. It's like something clicked. It was strange. But obviously I woke up and it was afterwards I thought about it. But as I looked at this light, I was absolutely mesmerized by this thing that I was holding. And then I woke up and that is all I had. Then 1 week later, I went to meet Tom and Esther, the kids club leaders, to talk about this next party that we're having later on in the month. And I'd never met Tom. He was a young man. I'd never met Tom. And he said to me, do you fancy doing a drama for this children's event? And I think, well, how does he know that I'm into drama and panto? I've never met this chap before. So it was really bizarre. And I said, you know what, I'll give that a go. I'd love that. I'd really enjoy that. A challenge, but that's fine. And I said, well, what do you want me to do the short play on? Because obviously we know it's alternative to Halloween. We know it's about Jesus and God, and we're wanting to just, share that with the young children. But is it superheroes? Is it, you must have a theme. And he said, I have had a really strange thing all week, Liz. He said, I've got this bright light in my hands. Wow. and I'm mesmerized by it, and I want this light to be shared. And Esther, she was quite emotional. I was quite emotional because we knew that there was, I just knew that there was something in that. Anyway, after the meeting, Tom left, and I was talking to Esther about the dream in a bit more detail. And she was showing me her journal, her personal journal, and talking about some things. But I kind of wasn't listening 100% because in the corner of her journal, she had drawn a 3D gift in pen. And I just zoomed in on this picture. I just knew there and then that I'm going to call this drama The Gift. And within 20 minutes of driving home, I'd written the whole script in my head. I had the whole storyline. I put pen to paper. It was all written down, typed up by 11 o'clock that same evening. And I produced this play at the party, and you could hear a pin drop. The kids loved it. It is very anointed, the play. And then a week before Christmas, I was asked to do it again in the main church service, about 300-400 people. And there was a couple of people there that were teachers, used to be teachers, and they loved it that much that they took it into school assemblies and they've recreated that. And I thought that was the end of The Gift. But then parents came up to me afterwards and said, can we take the script home to read to the children that weren't able to be at the, to see the play? Yeah. And I said, well, it's script form, it's not really story. So I decided there and then that I would convert it into a children's book. And the following year, when lockdown started, that's what I did. And I self-published the book, and a few hundred copies went out. And then, and again, I thought that was kind of the end of it. And I thought it's just a wonderful story. God's given me this gift. But I did remember praying and saying, what does this gift mean? And he said, you are going to touch many hearts with this gift I've given you. You're going to touch many hearts with that. And everybody that's read the story, I've had adults that cry, they've been quite emotional. The children have loved it. I've had one child even recreate the story. Wow. Over here we have what they call, well, have you ever heard of, do we have World Book Day? Do you have World Book Day?
They do have something similar to that. Yes, they have that. And
yeah. So we have World Book Day. I suppose it must be all over the world, but and a friend of mine, her daughter loved the character Esther so much that she dressed up as the character for school and actually recreated and went to school in the outfit. So
Wow.
it's really, kids that have loved it. And I think you've mentioned that, you've seen some of the reviews and people have really enjoyed that. So I thought that was kind of the end of it. But then I sent my manuscript off to a publisher on a whim.
Mhm.
And then 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I completely forgot about it. In fact, I nearly trashed it because I thought it was junk mail. And they'd offered me a contract to
Wow.
publish the book. So I thought, this is just beginner's luck, because it's my first book, it's my first manuscript. It was one publisher. So I sent it off to 2 more and I got offered 3 contracts.
Wow.
So I had to choose who to go to. So, of course, I went with my current publisher, which is Austin Macaulay. And now it's worldwide. And it seems to be doing pretty well. And I've also got a second book on the way. So we can talk about that another time.
Yeah, that's exciting. And I love your analogy when you talked about a gestation period. You talk about pregnancy. And oftentimes God has put something in us, but it takes time for it to
Mm,
come to full fruition. And you
yeah.
gave birth to this, and now you are birthing the light into other people's lives. And just the thought of that, to think about how you're changing people's lives by giving them that guiding light is absolutely amazing.
Mm. It is, and it's when people say, "What do you want from this book?" It's kind of, sometimes when you go on a journey with God, you don't we can't plan it. We don't know what's going to happen. We can go in the valleys, we can be in the mountains, we can be halfway up, we can be in both at the same time. And it's hard sometimes. The journey's hard because we don't know where we're going and where we're leading. But then, and the waiting period is really difficult. You know, Joe said to me, you'd have dreams. I had to wait a while. I kind of forgot about it. I'm a very impatient person, Jacqui. So God has to really teach me to be. The amount of people say to me, you need to be still, be still. I'm not a still personality. I'm someone that gets things done. It's just kind of how I am. But, the first dream came and something amazing happened from that. The second dream came and something amazing happened from that. I have had a few others since, but I can't wait for the third one to see But at the moment, I've got my writing. I feel he's given me a gift of writing, and it's to reach young children, to bring inspiration and joy, and the gospel runs deep within the book. Yet it's a bit of a twist because it's a fantasy tale. And so, I could write Christian books for Christian children, but the idea is for anybody to be able to read that,
Yeah.
and to be able to understand that. And I think if you are a Christian, you would understand the depth of it, because
Yeah.
the Holy Spirit will. But to someone that might not understand, or may never have even stepped one foot in a church or read a Bible, or even a children's Bible story, to them it's a fantasy story, and it's got great values in it. It's sharing. There's hope. There's kindness. There's a message of decisions to make, difficult decisions to make, and so. But I know it's not just for children. I know parents are enjoying it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for joining us for part 1 of our 3-part series with author Lizzie Jayne. We are talking about her book, The Gift. And today we talked about the vision behind the book. In our next episode, we're going to dig deeper into the contents of the actual book. We can't wait until you join us, beautiful people. So until next time, God bless.